Hey everyone, what's up and welcome to the channel. We are back today and we're going to be talking about some more of the finals. Season 2 is officially here and with it came a bunch of nerfs and buffs, twisting up some of the weapons in terms of their placement in meta, and I wanted to make an updated Season 2 weapons tier list to kind of give you all my impressions on what I feel the best and worst weapons are in the entire game. So yeah, we're here with the tier list. We do have every single weapon in the entire game here, including the new weapons that were added in Season 2, which is the burst pistol, we have the pump shotgun, and we also have the FAMAS from the medium class. We do have our ranks here going from S all the way through A, B, and C down to D tier, and we're just gonna kick this tier list off. I don't know if I'm gonna go in order. I think we'll honestly start off ranking the new weapons first because I do enjoy them quite a bit actually, but they aren't exactly the best. So we'll start things off with the FAMAS. The FAMAS, in my opinion, is going to go straight into C tier. I know that sounds really harsh, but the FAMAS is a very underwhelming weapon that disappoints so brutally in comparison to the AKM and to the FCAR. I think I would rather use any other AR in the medium class currently, despite my personal bias of loving the weapon. The FAMAS is honestly something I still continue to use regardless of how bad it is because I love the aesthetic of the weapon. I like how it feels. I still think you can do some decent work with it, but it is extremely bad. It just doesn't stack up to the other weapons, and that's where I'm gonna put it. I would love to see it get a pretty drastic buff. I think as a burst weapon, it should do potent amounts of damage at the trade-off of being burst. You know what I mean? We have the KS-23. Now this weapon here, this thing, like I think that if you are really good with the pump shotgun, you can do extreme amounts of damage. I honestly have extremely high damage games every single time I use this thing. But the one thing that's actually gonna bump it up from B tier and put it into A tier is a secret ability that me and my friends discovered on it, and that's its sheer level of destruction that it's capable of. If you shoot anything 5 times with this shotgun, it breaks. Like, you're busting through walls, you're busting through ceilings, floors, you're taking down cranes. 5 shots and whatever you're shooting at is instantly destroyed. I don't think you understand how powerful that is, especially on the heavy class. It gives you options to run other things outside of explosives if you want destruction. You know what I mean? Like, heavy is just known to be capable of destruction, and to build that into a weapon is very powerful. So I think it's A tier strictly because the damage is capable of. If you're good, it's going to kill people extremely quickly. It's a pretty punishing weapon though, and it has lots of destruction. So yeah, the KS-23, personal favorite of mine, grown to love it. Actually did not like it at all at the start, but I'm putting it in A tier here. And then we also have the Rennetti, the burst pistol. And I think this is a weapon that's going to go into, I think it's gonna go into B tier. Once again, S tier is the creme de la creme. This is peak meta. Like, we're only putting the best of the best in here. And then A, B, and C is the meat and potatoes, and D is just useless. So yeah, I think in terms of, once again, the burst pistol, it's a very good weapon. It's extremely powerful up close. It honestly does a ton of damage. I just don't think it's well-rounded enough to justify using over some of the A tier weapons that we're going to see from the light class, and it's definitely not an S tier weapon in my opinion. It's fun to use. I'm glad they're experimenting with the burst rifles and weapons in Season 2, but overall, as burst weapons, once again, I think they just need to be a little bit more potent in terms of the damage. So B tier is where Rennetti is going. Next up, we got the AKM. I love this weapon. I fell in love with this weapon again in the second half of Season 1, and even going into Season 2, I'm still in love with it. It's honestly probably my favorite weapon in the medium class right now to use for fun. I would definitely rank the AKM in A tier. Once again, all these weapons within the tiers aren't in order. Like, the shotgun isn't better than the AK. I'm just putting it in like the A tier section. But yeah, I think the AKM is good. I know a lot of people like to dog on the weapon. It's definitely not as good as the FCAR, but I do think that the AKM does hold special spots in terms of being more effective than the FCAR at certain things. I know if you're dealing with lights and there's, you know, a team full of them, it can be more effective to be able to take down more than one in a single magazine. The reload times can really screw you over with the FCAR. And when dealing with shields, dome shields, mesh shields from the heavy class, the extra bullet, 36 rounds in a magazine is massive. And you can more effectively take down those shields with an AKM over an FCAR. So A tier weapon for me. Love the weapon. Highly recommend you use it again. It definitely has its place. Moving on to the grenade launcher on the medium class. This is another weapon that I think is going to go into... Oh, see, like, I feel bad putting it above the FAMAS because the FAMAS is like, I mean, it's in there, you know what I mean? But the Renetti is better than the FAMAS, and the grenade launcher for its use is better than the FAMAS. The grenade launcher is a very niche weapon. It does have its place in the game though. It's the best of grenade launchers. It can be really effective, especially if, you know, using it on a squad that can play around it effectively. The only problem with the grenade launcher is that one APS turret goes down and you're kind of shut down. That's the problem with all grenade launchers in this game though. But outside of that, even when people have APSs, sometimes they don't place them effectively. It is a potent weapon. It can direct impact targets. It can take out lights extremely quickly. It can even be pretty oppressive against heavies. So yeah, I think it's a solid weapon overall. And I know there's some people out there who are crazy enough to main it. Moving on to the dagger on the light class. This is going to be our first weapon, no questions asked, going straight into D tier. Like I said, D tier are weapons that in terms of ranked, I would just never use. Even in public matches, just regular pubs, running around, having fun, memeing to get kills and cool clips. I wouldn't even use the dagger. I think there's more fun weapons to screw around with. It's just not a good weapon in the game. I would like to see one-shot back shots come back into place again. I think that could be really, really extremely annoying to deal with, but I think that's the only way the dagger will ever have a chance at competing with the other weapons, especially like the sword in the same class of light. So yeah, that's dagger for me. Moving on to the FCAR though. FCAR. Oh man, I'm really sick of seeing this gun. I really want to see it nerfed into the floor just because I would like to see the other weapons kind of, not even like take over, but have an equal opportunity to let its strength shine. And I think that the FCAR is just a little bit too strong still. I think it's a little too accurate as well. I think the AKM should be the more accurate weapon. If something has a longer magazine and does less damage, I believe it should be more of a laser. But the FCAR is more of a laser. It's way more potent in terms of damage and it has a smaller mag, but also has a way quicker reload. So yeah, S tier are going to be our first, or FCAR is going to be our first weapon in S tier. Hate to give it to it, but it deserves it. Moving on to the flamethrower. The flamethrower is not great right now, I'll be honest. I don't know that the flamethrower is as bad as, like, I don't think the FAMAS is as bad as a flamethrower, so I think I'm gonna put the flamethrower also in D tier. There are some people who are pretty good with it and come up with some creative strategies that have been working honestly awesome in the new payload mode that was added in season 2, but outside of some niche case uses and some niche opportunities, I don't think that the flamethrower is a good all-around weapon that is an effective choice in ranked. I think if you're getting flamethrowered, you're probably going to get magged down before you ever even kill them by any other weapon in the game, or at least some of the A tier and S tier weapons. So you get fried up and it just doesn't have a lot of range whatsoever. It is good counters to gas and goo, but I don't think that's enough of a reason to rock a weapon. Moving on to the Lewis gun now. I think the Lewis gun is not exactly my favorite anymore. I think it was definitely S tier in season 1. I still think it is decent, but I'm probably going to put it into B tier. I don't know, man. I think that there's other weapons in the heavy class that do a bit better of a job than it right now, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, I think right now Lewis still a pretty good gun, just not the greatest of guns. The LH1 is going to be, I think, another weapon that we throw very high and put into A tier. I honestly am holding back everything in me to not put this, or like to put this into S tier, because I think that the damage and everything that surrounds the power level of this gun is most definitely S tier. If anything, this might even be the most deadliest weapon in the game. I think that if you're playing on controller, I'll put this in S tier. The aim assist really helps you look past the visual recoil that you encounter on this weapon, which makes it really difficult to see what you're shooting and it actually hits your shots. But in terms of like people who play on mouse and keyboard, I play on mouse and keyboard, I'm gonna put this thing in A tier. If you barrel stuff with the weapon, it's going to kill people dummy quick. Regardless, it kills people dummy quick, but I just can't get past the visual bullshit that hits you in the face every time you shoot this weapon. So for me, it's A tier. Very, very good weapon. The M11 is another weapon that has really surprised me this season. They increased the hip fire accuracy on this weapon, and it is extremely deadly. I would argue it actually contends the MP5, the XP54, for a top spot in its class right now. I don't think that it overall contests the consistency of the XP54 because the XP54 is so potent at range and so accurate and has such a clear picture to what you're shooting that I think that the XP is still above it, but I think that the M11 is at the top of its class right now. A tier is where we're gonna leave it right here. If you haven't tried out the M11, give it a shot. Extremely deadly. Like I said, probably one of the best in its class, and it shreds now. Moving on to the M60 light machine gun. This is why I put the Lewis in B tier. I think that the M60, honestly, is above the Lewis gun right now. You have to play with the M60 more like a light machine gun. I still think that the Lewis is a little bit better at range, but the M60 is fairly accurate, and the longer you shoot this thing, the more accurate it gets. So run around with this thing, get crazy with it, start strafing. It got a lot of buffs, and I think it's a pretty powerful weapon for the heavy class right now that I think a lot of people are going to be coming back to try out again. And hopefully by the end of the season, it's not that I hope we see a bunch of M60s, but I do kind of hope so because it would be nice to see the switch up. But this thing has a long magazine as well. Very long magazine. The only downside to it is its longer reload, but if you can look past that and learn to play around the reload timings, it's a very good weapon. Moving on to the MGL32, the heavy grenade launcher. I'm gonna put this into C tier. Don't get me wrong, the grenade launcher is pretty powerful. It does have a lot of destruction capabilities, but kind of how they built the destruction into the shotgun as a little bit more niche of a tool on top of a powerful weapon. I think that was the better way to go than making the weapon all about destruction, even though it is a grenade launcher, and then making it do decent amounts of damage and make it decent at killing people. Just the detonation time on grenades, it's not impact. So when you shoot these things, it can be tedious to take down people who are right in front of you. I just don't think it's all that great, but it's definitely not a D tier weapon. I've gone against certain people who have made this thing look like one of the most menacing weapons in the game. They're just very good with it, but yeah, it's C tier for me. Moving on to the Model 1887 shotgun. Once again, at the end of season 1, the second half of season 1, even a little bit into the start of season 2, I've enjoyed this weapon a lot. It is very, very strong and pretty good at close quarters combat. It takes out people extremely quick. It is the number one thing that I think light should fear. I don't think I've ever been deleted by something quicker than a model when I am playing light sometimes. But with some of the other nerfs and buffs that have gone down in season 2, I don't want to put it in A tier, to be honest. I think that it is in B tier right now only because there are certain things that outclass it as of the start of season 2, and most notably of which is the R357 revolver. I would say all of last season that I would have put the revolver most definitely in B tier, potentially even C tier, but this season with the buffs that I got, I actually think it is a pretty decent A tier weapon. You know, now that I'm sitting here and looking at it, actually, I don't know if I could put it in A tier either. I think it's season 1, it floated in C tier, maybe a B tier, and this season I want to put in A tier, but I don't think it's as good as an M11 or an AKM or the pump shotgun or an LH, and so I probably put it in B tier. I think this is the only one that's going to matter in terms of order. I'll put the the revolver above the shotgun here because I do think it's more effective than the shotgun now. Yeah, I don't think it's A tier, but it's better than the shotgun. I would use it over it. The revolver got a lot more effective at range, and because of that, I think there isn't a lot of reason to use the model in close quarters because the reload is just so much simpler and straightforward on the revolver. The shotgun is still a pain in the big booty cheeks to deal with in terms of reload timings. It's just, they got to refine that and rework it somehow. Moving on to the riot shield, I would personally want to put this thing in D tier, but my friend Pants has made this thing do wonders in ranked and honestly racked up high damage games to keep up with his teammates who are using guns. Pants is my homie, he's my teammate, I play with him all the time, and because of him, I think I'm going to put the riot shield in C tier. I mean, it's definitely in line with the heavy grenade launcher for sure. I have no problem putting it there. Moving on to the SA-12, the automatic shotgun. I don't even know if I need to say this, but like it's S tier, obviously. I don't even think I need to give it a reason. I'm pretty sure if you don't even play this video game, you know that this thing is S tier because you've probably seen more clips than you can count of it. It's just busted, man. They gotta nerf this thing. It is way too strong. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Nerf it. It's brutal right now. Moving on to the double barrel shotgun from the light class. Once again, I actually don't think this is A tier. Definitely not S tier. I don't think it's A tier anymore. I think it's outclassed by a lot of things, and I have no problems putting it right here in B tier. So far, I'm really liking our B tier, actually. Our B tier looks super solid, and our A tier, once again, as well, looks very cohesive. I think a lot of these weapons just clearly outshine a lot of these weapons. And so I'm liking our tier list so far. The double barrel is good. It's still, you know, pretty potent in terms of damage, but I just think it's way too punishing of a weapon to actually, you know, really be effective at the highest of ranks. Moving on to the sledgehammer. The sledgehammer, okay, once I see some people come up with some crazy strats, especially in the late half of season 1, people run around with goo gun and capture you, and they slam you for like 200 with a charge up hit out of the goo, but I just don't know that I could put it into C tier. I mean, I guess you could say it's somewhat in line with the riot shield, but every time I go against people with sledgehammers, I don't actually take them serious. I kind of just meme on them, and it's like they might kill me once by the end of the game, especially if we're in a final round, but that's only because I risk getting too close. I'm gonna put the sledgehammer in D tier, bro. I don't think it's good, man. It's definitely, riot shield is definitely shown to be more useful in terms of survivability. It's just not good. Moving on now, we're gonna talk about the light sniper. The light sniper is also a pretty bad weapon. I've seen, once again, my friend Pants, he likes to use a lot of like niche weapons. I think that his time playing riot shield has definitely been more effective than his time playing sniper, just because of how squishy the light class already is. And when you do got to get up in people's faces and you have a sniper, it's just so hard to be effective in terms of a consistency level. Even if you are like one of the greatest aimers out there, like there's no denying you would be more consistent with something else that like is probably more in line with an M11 or an MP5. So yeah, we're gonna put the sniper in C tier, man. I can't put it in D tier, but we'll put it in C tier. It has its place. The sword, on the other hand, the sword is insane. I don't think I'm gonna put it. It's definitely not S tier. No way it's S tier. I don't know that I could put it in A tier. I think the top percentile of people with a sword can make it look A tier, but I will put this thing in B tier. I think in the right hands, they can make it shine somewhere around here, but it's definitely not down here. It's a good weapon. It can kill people extremely quickly, and if you have the playstyle and the mechanics to actually pull it off with your movement, you can be evasive too. You have a lot of survivability with it. But keeping this list moving, I mean, we're nearly done here. We have the throwing knives. The throwing knives, I don't think that throwing knives are as good as any of these weapons here in C tier. I think the throwing knives is going to be another D tier weapon for me. Every time I see, I mean, you can't lie to me. If you get a teammate and you're playing ranked and he's whipping out the throwing knives, all right, he's throwing out the utensils, you're kind of pissed off. There's just no way you're not pissed off. They're probably not going to be all that effective with it. Not because of them not being effective. The weapon's just not very effective. And don't get me wrong. Someone who's very good with it can make it look C tier, can make it look B tier, but it's a D tier weapon for me. The V9S pistol. The V9S is... Ooh, I am struggling to know where to put this, to be honest. I think that the V9S is still a decent weapon, but I think it is definitely outclassed by a lot of other weapons. If I was playing light, I want to put this thing somewhere in the B tier. Part of me wants to put it down in C tier. I mean, when I compare it to the FAMAS, in my opinion, like, don't get me wrong, the V9S is a very good gun. But when I compare it to the FAMAS, I'm like, it somewhat falls in line with like the performance of a FAMAS. But when I look at the grenade launcher, the riot shield, and the sniper, I don't think I could ever argue that the pistol is as useless as those. So I feel like we'll probably put it like at middle to low end of B tier. I think that the burst pistol is honestly a lot better though. I definitely think the revolver and the shotgun and even the double pump are a lot better than the V9S. So yeah, bottom B tier looks about right to me. And to finish this list off with some more creme de la creme, we got the XP54, the MP5, concluding our list in S tier. S tier was made for the best of the best. We have FCAR, we got the auto shotty and MP5. I think these are still the 3 best weapons in the game, and it's the best of each class: best on light, best on heavy, best on medium. I think our A tier actually looks pretty solid. I would argue that some people might think that the pump shotty is a bit of a bold take, but once again, with the destruction capabilities it's capable of, you'd be surprised how useful it is, and it is extremely potent if you can hit your shots. Give it a try, spend at least a day or two with it. I would love to see you know, me change your mind and, you know, kind of change your take on the weapon, because like I said, after playing with it, I really do believe it is A tier. I think the rest of our A tier looks pretty solid. I think our B tier looks like, it looks sturdy across the board. I would argue all these are true solid B tiers. C tiers, seeing the FAMAS in there actually hurts my soul, but it really does just belong there. And our D tier, if you disagree, get out of here, bro. Okay, get out of here. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope you guys enjoyed my tier list maker. Let me know what you guys think of my season 2 tier list. If there are any nerfs or buffs, you know, I'll be sure to, you know, maybe update it in the comments or whatever, or maybe I'll just do an updated tier list video at a later date, probably in the late half of season 2. But yeah, as of season 2, this is what you can probably play off of. I wish you luck in your games. I wish you luck in reaching the finals, and thank you so much for the support on the channel. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers. Thank you for the support on the videos, and most definitely thank you for all the support on the Twitch streams. Once again, link to that will be in the description. If you guys want to watch me over there, I stream on Twitch every single day. We be playing lots of finals. And if you guys want to catch me, I hope to see you over there live. But thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy yourself. Keep up. Stay up. Peace out.